Hello everybody. I went to Hobby Lobby today and I was so excited. I found so many things that I can use on my Christmas tiles. I found this in the Christmas section. They look like little, well, let me open one because I'm going to be using them anyway. They look like Christmas lights, but they're flat on one side. See, they're round on one side and flat on the other. So these will work really nice in making some tiles. Let me open that up so it'll be there for me to use. And then I also found some charms, metal charms, and they are so hard to find. But like I said, I got these at Hobby Lobby. They were it's just called Christmas by Bead Treasure. And these are metal beads. And see, they have at least 2 of each. There's like a pine cone, which I guess that's Christmas, but I see 3 of those so far. And then I know there's 2 of these little candy canes. And then there's some bells. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then they have a different kind of bell. A little double bell. And a stocking. Like I say, there's at least 2 of most of these. There's the other candy cane. I'm not a big snowman fan, but this little snowman is really cute, and it does say joy underneath the snowman, so that'll make a cute tile. There's the other stocking, the other bell. There's the other snowman. There's this Christmas tree, which I think is really cute. And there's 2 of those. There's snowflakes. Whoops. There's 2 snowflakes. Those are the bells. And then another pine cone. So that's 4 pine cones. And then 4 little mittens. So these will work really nice, and I really want to get rid of this red clay. I was going to wait. Oh no, it's not 4 mittens. There's 2 of them together. Sorry about that. Those 2 are together, so it's only 2 of the mittens, 4 of the pine cones. But what I want to do is get rid of this red clay. But let me show you what else I got. I just had more fun today. I like to get these dress it up buttons, and this one is Memory Mate Christmas. I looked at AC Moore and they didn't have any Christmas buttons, but Hobby Lobby did. So as much as I hate paying full price for anything, I knew if I waited these things might be gone. But these are resin. These are not metal, so they can't go in the oven. But look at this Christmas tree. Isn't that adorable? And then we have 2 packages. One of them is green with the red bow, and the other one is red with the green bow. And then, of course, there's always a Santa Claus. I'm not a big Santa Claus person either, but that's just me. I guess when I had children I was. And a pretty, let me lay it flat on my hand, a pretty candy cane. And several of these, looks like 3 of these little snowflake buttons. Here's a little elf. He's really cute. And then I have another candy cane, and then the little gingerbread men. So these are something else that you can use for tiles. And then, while I was looking at buttons, I came across this. And let me dump these into a bowl. This is a package. It just says Holiday Collection Potpourri. And it's from Dress It Up, which is the same people that made the other buttons. But it's a big pack. See, it's a big pack of buttons. Now there are some buttons that are just regular buttons, green and red buttons, and those I will not use, and I will put those aside. But let me take them out a little at a time and see what we've got. Let me pull out the plain buttons. Lots of red, white, and green. But anyway, there's another type of Christmas tree. And a little star. It being so little, these are things that you can add on. But then there's this candy cane, which is red sparkly, which of course won't go on the red clay. Probably won't use the mitten buttons or the candy cane buttons. I may, but I'll put those in with the regular buttons. But these are just flat, plain buttons. But you never know when I might need them. And let's see, what else have we got? This is one of the wise men. And another snowflake. I'm not sure what this is, unless it's a gumdrop. Could be a gumdrop. I don't know. That looks like an add-on to me. And they've got some of the little little lights, but they're smaller and they're not flat backed. So I don't know if I'll use those or not, but you never know. And it's a little red bird. Another mitten. But these are just so cute. It's another Santa. It's a little bit different from the other Santa. And another candy cane. There's a package. And these things, I'm not sure exactly what they are. I don't know if they're meant to be cutters or if they go in as an outline. But this is a gingerbread man and a tree, but they would make good cutters. So I might keep those separate. And that's just part of the container. There's just lots and lots and lots of things in here. And you can see, even though they have some plain buttons in here, there's a lot of them that are not. Look at this wreath. Isn't that nice? And this is another tree. Again, this is sort of, I don't know if it's a cutter or if it's a tree. But they have stars. There's another gingerbread man. I'm not sure what this is. It probably came off of something. I'm not sure. But you can see, there's a lot of things in here that I can use on my package. On my package. I was looking at that package. On my tiles. So I'm going to just take a break for a minute, stop the camera while I go through the rest of this to get the plain buttons out. I'll be back. Okay, I've got those all sorted out. Look, I have a bowl full of things I can use. So I am so excited. If for nothing else, I'm excited that I can get rid of this red clay. I went back and looked in my stash. And these I got on clearance back in the spring at Hobby Lobby. And I forgot I had them. I put a couple of these on my daughter-in-law's cancer box. But they're real pretty white angels. Let me get it so there. Real pretty angels. So I've got 4 of those also. So I've got all kinds of things that I can use to make tiles. I can make big tiles and little tiles, and that's really important because when you're putting together a mosaic, you will find that you're going to need small tiles to fill in spaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a straight edge and just see where I go. Let me start with the metal. Let me look at this. That would look pretty. Now what I do is I usually cut the shank off, and I'm probably ruining these nippers by doing that, but I don't like the little circle showing. So I just clip those off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to press it down in the clay. Now the metal charms you can bake on the clay. These other buttons you can't, because not being metal, it's not going to work. But I'm going to save some of these to put on other colors. Let's see, I could put that on silver or I could put that on green. Let me find the other Christmas tree that's in here. I think I'll put this on the red. And again, because it's a button, it's got a little shank on the back. So what I'm going to do is cut that shank not totally off, but about 2/3 of the way off. And then, see, I leave a little bit there. Can you see the little bit that I left? And I'm doing that because I'm going to use that to stick down in the clay. I think I'm going to put the buttons up here. And I'm going to press it in. I'm going to make an indentation. But I have to take this out before it goes in the oven. But I think I'm going to do that. I might do a little gingerbread man. And again, I'm going to cut the shank off of the button. And you can do these one at a time, or you can do several. I'm going to put this, I think, right next to that because it'll... And again, I'm going to press it down to make an impression because I'm going to have to take this out, and after it bakes, I want to see what it's going to... I want to see where it goes. So let's do a green light, and these are plastic. So it's not too difficult to cut the little ring off the end of this. And I might do this catty-cornered. There are just some things that look good catty-cornered. And let's see, what else can I put on the red? While I've got this out, let me try one of these little cutters, or what looks like a cutter. Let's find one that would go with red. Everything doesn't, well, I'll have to use that with a different color. I don't know. I'm going to try this, even though I probably won't use it, but this is one that looks like the cutter. And I want to see what it looks like when it's pressed into the clay. And I've pressed that in pretty good. And I'm going to pull it out. Well, I think I'm going to pull it out. I'm sticking my thumbnail into the clay. Let me see if I can lift this out with a little tool. There you go. It does make a nice impression, even though I've got thumbnails marks all around it. I don't know what I'll do with that, but I may cut it into a tile and do something with it later. This might be, because of the deep impression, it might be a good one to fill with stickles. So that was this was one of the pieces that looks like a cutter. Anyway, but actually, I'm going to use, for a couple of these, I'm going to use this LC cutter. It came with one of the things that I ordered. I've stayed away from the Lucy Clay tools for so long because they were so expensive. And then I realized I was spending more on cheap stuff in order to get it to work than I was just spending the extra money. But this is one of their small, this is a 1-inch square, which is the size of an inchy. And it's a little bit big for that, but I can do it on the gingerbread man. I think that's straight. And just press straight down. And I've got a 1-inch square tile, although I don't think it went all the way through. And red clay, being red clay, stains everything. This is just a plain paper towel I'm wiping it with to see if it'll come off. But I'll cut around that. But in doing that, I think I've messed up the tree. But let me cut around these bells. Now, another thing you can do, I promise I'm going to do something other than Christmas shortly. I've got so many things going on in my head. There are so many things I want to do. And I'm going to take a break from Christmas shortly. But this I'm going to leave in the tile. There. I'm going to leave this in, and this will be baked just like this. Then what I'll do at the end, after I bake it, I'll pop this little charm out and put some weld bond or super glue or something and glue the charm back in. Now let me put that on my baking tile. And I might have to clean this up a little bit. It cut all the way through, but it's a little ragged. So I'm just going to clean up the edges a little bit. Well, this is good to know because I'm going to be making some inchies shortly. I'm just about out. So it's good to know that I need to clean up these edges. But I will just clean up these edges, and I'm going to put the little gingerbread man on my baking tile. And I will Oh, I pulled up my tree, which is probably just as well because I think I need to move it anyway. But see the little, can you see the little divots that are in the clay? That helps this, that's right here is where the shanks went into the clay, and that helps to hold it. But I'm going to do this again and trim around it. Still had some clay on my blade from where I trimmed it. Now I can tell I didn't cut this straight. It's a little bit better. But what I'll do is I'm going to pop this out. And you can see a little bit of the impression in there, so I'll know when this is baked that I need to glue this tree back in place. So I'm just going to set it aside. Actually, I need to do that with my little gingerbread man too. Forgot about him. Let me pull him out. So there's the little place for the gingerbread man. If you put these into the oven, you're going to find that they're going to melt. And you don't want that. Let me cut this tree out. Like I said, this might be something I would want to fill with stickles. I have a hard time cutting straight. Always have. And this cut all the way through, but I think it will mend itself. It'll mend itself when it bakes. So that's going on my tile. Make sure when you put them on your tile that they're straight. And then I'll do the same thing with this light bulb. But I do want that to be crossways. And I'm going to make this as skinny as I can because you always need skinny tiles too. You need little tiles, big tiles, skinny tiles, fat tiles. You need all different shapes and sizes, and when I start putting the thing together, which might be months away at the rate things are going now, but let me pull this out. See the best there. That pops up and you just pull it out. So these three things, I'm waiting for their counterpart to be baked. And then I'll pop those in. And I'm going to keep on going. I will do a few more red tiles. And you can see I don't have much red clay left. So as soon as I get this down a little ways, I will switch to a different color and maybe switch to different methods. I have so many different things I want to do, and it's going to be, maybe it's a good thing I started in July. Maybe that's where Christmas in July started from. People having to get ready for Christmas projects, having to start so early. So that's it for this round. I'll come back and finish up after these are baked, and I'll show you the process of finishing them up. And we will finish with the red clay. Thanks. Be back soon. Hello everybody. It's Gail. Just wanted to show you these tiles. They've come out of the oven. They're still attached to my tile. I haven't picked them up yet because sometimes it's easier to work when they're not moving around. But I wanted to show you how I get the charms and everything permanently attached. I use Weld Bond. I'm not sure where I got this. It could have been Walmart or I don't know where it was. But anyway, this is really a good adhesive. It can even be baked, and it's okay being baked. But I usually use Weld Bond, and what I do is put a little bit on my tile and then use a brush to put it on. Let me get my brush. That's one thing I didn't bring out when I sat down. Luckily everything is close by. I don't use a good brush. Let me see. Let me use this one. It's a small brush, but you don't need a lot. But first what I want to do is I do take up the metal tile, metal charms, and I guess I ought to pick this up because if you have a good clay, it's going to be flexible. And this being Primo, it's nice and flexible. But see, I pull the charm out, and I'll put some Weld Bond out here on my work surface. I'm getting low. I might have to get me some more. It's a little gloppy up there, so I need to clean that pretty good. Must not have done it very well the last time. But anyway, what I would do is just take a little bit of Weld Bond on here and brush it in the hollow, where the hollow, can you see that? Where the hollow part of the bead is, and then also get a little bit down into the channel where the bead, you know, the charm comes into contact with the clay. Because you don't want it to come off, especially if you give it as a gift. And then you just take your charm, put it back on there, and press it back into that hole. And you'll see there's a little bit of extra. Where did my toothpicks go? I have toothpicks that I keep here all the time, and for some reason it's, oh, there they are. Put something on top of them, of course. But just take a toothpick and get that out if you can, because it will dry a little shiny. The ones that's right up against it, it doesn't really matter that much. But anyway, that, once it dries, will be really stuck and it won't move. So let's do, this one is going to be the hardest, being skinny. But again, just bend it gently, pull it out, paint a little bit of Weld Bond where the charm meets the clay. Try not to overload the skinny one like this. And then put the charm back in and press it into the groove. And that's really all there is to it, to the metal ones. Now the plastic ones, I did put into a bag so I'd know which ones I used. Keep them separate from the rest. This one is the big, I know you can't see that. This one is the big angel, and that is this one. And you can see the outline, so you don't have to worry about figuring out which one is what. There's the two little holes. I like to put some on those little holes. That's where the cut off loop on the back is, and just kind of paint the weld bond where you feel like you need it. I'm going to kind of spread it everywhere where the body of the angel is and try to stay away from the edges so it doesn't squirt out too much. And then just press it back in. So then that one's done. And let's see, I believe this, I don't think it matters, but I'm trying to make sure I put the same charm in that made the impression. This one was the silver one. If I had waited more than a day, I wouldn't have remembered that. So if you don't remember, don't worry about it. But just put it back in where the mark is and press it down. Now this little, no, it's this one. This snowflake. Let me see which way. I like this snowflake because it's sparkly. Does it go that way? I think it does. Okay, so let me, again, put it in where the little holes are. And then any place else that you feel like you want to make sure it grabs. I'm not going to put too much in the little ends here, where the little snowflakes are, the arms of the snowflakes, or whatever you want to call those, little branches, because you don't want it to squirt out. There. Now this is a pretty snowflake. Like I said, it's sparkly. I don't know if you can see the sparkles on here, but it's covered in glitter. So that's a real pretty snowflake. The others are kind of plain. Now I want to do this Christmas tree. This is another big one, so this one you can use a little bit more glue. Put it over the holes and then kind of spread a little bit over the center. Just looking to see if it was solid on the back, and it is, so this glue will hold without me having to go towards the end, the edges. And I'll put that back in the same hole that it came out of. And you can see just how easy it is to make these charms. And this can be decorated later, which I probably will do. Some of these I will decorate more as time goes on. But I'm just going to continue doing what I've been showing you. I'm going to pull the metal. I don't want to do that. Let me just, like I say, if you use a good quality clay. Now Sculpey 3 you cannot bend. If you try to bend Sculpey 3, it's going to break in half. But you can bend Primo, Kato, and I don't use a lot of Fimo, but I understand you can bend Fimo also. So if you're going to be doing these, make sure you use a good clay so that it can be bendable. Otherwise, you'll have a difficult time getting these charms out. The charms probably wouldn't have to be glued in, but since they don't bond with the clay, it's just safer if you do that. Metal is, of course, is not going to bond with clay. Like say your Perfect Pearls does. Your Perfect Pearls has a binder in it that actually bonds with clay. Metal does not. So even though it was grabbed in there pretty good, and I had to pull pretty good to get it out, I don't know that it would stay if it got bumped, or if this is on a box and somebody drops the box, I don't know that it wouldn't come out. So I like to go ahead and do that. And let me just finish these up. There's not many. And I'll just press these into place. But you can see why I was so excited when I found these charms, because they're so pretty. This is one, I don't think I showed you the one I'm working on now, but it's a glitzy Christmas tree. Let me show it to you. See, it's just a glitzy Christmas tree. And I know the charms are upside down to you as I'm making them, because I've got the way my camera is set up. When I look in my viewfinder, it's right side up to me, but it's actually upside down for you. I hope that stays. I may have to put more glue on that. But let me finish. Like I say, it won't take long. I'll just have this two more, this and a snowflake. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this little Christmas tree over here. Oops. My glue is drying, so I've got to act quickly here. Again, I'm not going to worry about the edges, because as long as it's glued in the middle, we should be okay. And make sure your holes get lined up and just snap it back into place. That one did really well. But let me rinse my brush out before that dries. And wipe the glue off my tile before I get it all over everything. Let me just there. Okay, now this one here, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see that one. This is the one that I did with the tree that I thought looked like it might be a cutter. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This one here. And I wasn't real sure what it was going to look like. I pressed it in with the cutter side down. I pressed it in this way. This is flat. And it came up with these little grooves. And what I thought I would do is fill it in with stickles. And that being a tree, I figured I would put some green stickles, maybe put green in this groove, going around. Oh, I'll do it on all of it. Let me just fill in all these little grooves with stickles. The green, this is called seafoam. But just follow the lines and give these a gentle squeeze, and it'll go into those little grooves. Of course, I love sparkle. So I think maybe a little more here. And I just threw my paper towel away because it had glue on it. But I always wipe off the end of my stickles and then put it away. But there's that, and let me put a different color, maybe gold. Gold goes well with green, but I'm going to use the gold to go around the trunk of the tree. I know you can't tell the difference, but when it dries, you'll be able to do it. But now we've got a pretty little tree. Now, I wish I had some red stickles, because I would definitely put some red, or how about silver? What are some other colors that I could use? I'm going to try this crystal, and thought I would just put a dot here and there to maybe look like Christmas ornaments. Right, that's the crystal. And then diamond has some other colors in it. It might look the same to you now because it's got the glue in it, but when they dry, they will be different colors than what I've already got on there. Right there. So we'll see what that looks like when it dries. But anyway, those are the rest of my red. I had about this much red left over, and I like to keep some left over because I may need some red clay to decorate one of the other colors. You never know. I'm looking at that green Christmas tree. I don't know how the stickles would stick to that, but that would be a nice one to try some stickles on. I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to think about that one. But anyway, that's the end of my red clay. I know you're probably as glad as I am to see the end of that, but you've seen several different things that I've done with it as far as stamping, using perfect pearls to highlight, using metal stamps, using plastic buttons and other decorations, and using clip art to make little tiles. But this is the beginning of my Christmas decoration, so I'm going to switch to something else now. I'll go back and maybe do a cane video, or I've got something else I want to do that's really special to my heart, and hopefully it will be to yours too. But hope you've gotten something out of this, and that you make your own tiles and just use it to embellish boxes. You can make frames. You can do all kinds of things. Unfortunately, everything that I've made with tiles on it, I've given away, so I don't have anything to show you. But I will maybe post a picture at the end of this of the box that I gave to my daughter-in-law. She has breast cancer, and she's undergoing chemo right now, and it's really tough. And I'm 3 hours away, so I don't get to see her as much as I would like to. And I made a box for her with a Proverbs 31 woman in it, and that she absolutely loves. It made me feel good. I told her that was my therapy, was to, you know, put my grief and my sorrow into my box. But I'll post a picture of that at the end of this video, and hope that you enjoy everything. And come back again when I'll probably be doing a cane in my next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.